You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Vegas. It's rock. It's dogs. It's Vegas Rock Dog Radio. A rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. Stand by for great guests and cool advice. All in one rockin' hour. The phone lines are open at 702-483-4444. That's 702-483-4444. Now, let's bring on the host. Here is the rock and roll queen of dogs, Sam.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening in. And you are listening in to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, a rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. My name is Sam, and I'm your host for this coming hour today. And it's going to be a great show. Lots of information and a great guest that's going to be calling in. And if you're in Las Vegas, you're going to definitely be interested in this particular guest of mine. And it's going to be a great show. So I was just telling Mike here that I put a little bit too much ginger in my juice this morning. My throat's still on fire.
Light it up.
Seriously, I think if you put a match in front, I would self-combust.
Flame on.
Well, it is rock and roll, I guess.
That's rock and roll. Flame on.
If you're not awake, put a lot of ginger in your juice in the morning. I do love ginger, I have to say. So, before we get started, let me tell you where you're going to find us as far as the internet goes. And it's many places, so I'm sure you'll find us in one of them. Our website is VegasRockDogRadio.com. Our Ustream is Ustream.tv. The channel is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Facebook is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. And our Twitter account is Vegas Rock Dog Show. No W on the end. Drop the W. Be a little lazy in your pronunciation. Vegas Rock Dog Show. That's the only thing you have to really think about on the Twitter is I couldn't get that perfect name that I needed. The call-in number is 702-483-4444. And like I said, you're listening live to our show from VegasAllNetRadio.com. Our Instagram account is Vegas Rock Dog. And if you want to pick up some rock and roll clothing for you and your pet, you'll go to VegasRockDog.com. This is how this radio show all came about. I started a clothing company 10 years ago for rock and roll pets, 10 years ago. And from that one move, it took me to where I am today because I got involved with a heck of a lot of rescues who would ask me for gift baskets and that kind of thing. And then I started producing my own fundraising events because I like an event where you can take your dog and have a cocktail. That's my kind of event. And I help as many rescues as I possibly can and individual cases and causes. So that's how it all started, from a clothing company, which I still have. And then the radio show came, and who knows where we're going to go next. Actually, I'm going to be announcing something next week. But a few little details have to drop into place before I can make that announcement. But we are expanding our business. That's all I'm going to say. So if you're on Vine, I haven't done a lot on Vine, but if you're on Vine, it's Vegas Rock Dog. And there are some funny Vines on there, but it's just another thing to manage, isn't it? And Google Plus is Sam Ratcliffe. And there are a couple of ways you can download apps for the show. The first way you can download the app is actually going to my show page on VegasAllNetRadio.com, and you'll see the link for a Droid app, which is Google Play, or an Apple app, which is the Apple link. Really easy. That's the actual station's app. So once you download that, you'll look for my show. Or you can actually download the show's app, and that's on yap.us, YAPP.us, and find the show Vegas Rock Dog Radio once you've downloaded it. And you'll have it at your fingertips, and you won't have to look for it on the internet. Boom, we'll be there. You can listen live and get all the updates and the galleries on there and all the blog posts, blah, blah, blah. It's just a lot of stuff. But the app does make your life a lot easier. And I know that some of our listeners in England and Australia are using the app. So I know it works, and that's all that I care about, is that it works. So I'm going to move very quickly on to my tip of the week. This is a fun one. Who is not taking photos of their pets? I actually, you know what, sometimes I kind of judge people that don't post enough pictures of their pets. I'm like, how come I haven't seen a picture of their dog in a week? What's wrong with these people? And then I'm sure people look at mine and say, what's wrong with her? She posts 1,000 pictures a week of her pets. And I'm still going to. That's how it's going to go down. So, like I said, who is not taking pictures of the pets and figuring out your filters and your this and the that? But as many of you know, my big girl, Galaxy, she is a little black beauty, but she wasn't the easiest to photograph when I first got her. She would get lost in the pictures. She would get really, really lost. I love photography. I actually did a course here at UNLV many years ago, back when you learned, it wasn't digital, it was like you really had to know how to use a camera. But anyone that follows me on Instagram, they just know that I love taking photos of my dogs. But over the years, I've learned how to show Galaxy off in her best light. And so some of these tips are really going to help you when it comes to photographing your little black beauties yourself. Really, really simple. Black and white. Think in black and white. It sounds crazy, but I learned this the hard way when I was working with black and white film. I was still thinking in color. So if I saw a red, I'd think, oh, that's going to really pop on this photograph, forgetting that it was going to be in black and white. And then they looked terrible. Everything became kind of wishy-washy, because what I wasn't doing was looking at contrast. Would the blacks really black? Would the whites be really, really white? And that's when I started to really learn about, contrast and thinking in black and white. Because if you do that and say, would it look good in black and white? No, maybe not. Then you need to change, your background, your location, your lighting or whatever. And this is not meant for you to go, have to go to school to learn how to take these photos. But these are really, really simple tips that really help. So, that's your black and white. So think in black and white. Are your whites white? Are your blacks black? Will it look good in black and white? And that way you will really, really figure out contrast. The background, keep it simple. Keep it light colored. That will really, really help. And, that will help keep your black pet, the main focus of your photograph, and avoid those busy and dark backgrounds. Light. I love natural light. Oh my gosh, they're some of the best photographs that you'll ever take of your pets. And so if you actually can place your pet, usually they're by the window anyway, looking to see who's going up and down the street. But if you can place your pet where the light's coming kind of behind it to the side of them, it's going to really, really help enhance the edges of your pet's fur, and it gets a more defined photograph. Another thing is outdoor photographs. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a great sunny day, let's go and take pictures. But those bright, bright sunny days can really put a harsh light on your pet's coat, making it really super, super shiny and really out of balance. So, even though it's bright outside, photograph them in the shade. You'll get great images. Really, really, really simple. Focus on their eyes. Some people just look at the picture like, oh, here's my whole dog or my whole cat. I'm just looking at Snap. But if you actually think how you want the photograph to be, I know it sounds crazy, and you think, you know what, I need to focus on the eyes, so you will actually start changing how you photograph. You're bound to get a really great photograph if you actually do that, because you're going to capture their personality, and that's what we're trying to do with any of our pets' photographs. And finally, silhouettes. I'm a fan of silhouettes. I'm a fan of silhouettes if I haven't taken a good picture. I can actually adjust the contrast and the light. Some of these apps are brilliant, and really make it, I call it extreme editing, yeah? And really make it extreme. So sometimes I'll make it black and white, and then I'll do something crazy with the contrast, and there you go. Sometimes you got a man-made, manufactured silhouette, and sometimes you just get super, super lucky and you get to capture their shape. And they make for wonderful photographs. So these are tips that you could just apply, whether you use a real camera or whether you use an app. And as I say, we're a little more forgiving on these apps now because we've got so much we can do with them as far as editing. But it will help you get better pictures of your black pet, and it would really, really help for anyone that works in rescue, because we all know they're just hard to photograph sometimes. So I'm going to put these tips up on a blog post so that you can read them and hopefully get some examples for you and pop them up on there, and hopefully that will help you. So that's my tip of the week. That's my tip of the week. So I promised I would do a quick update on Crufts. Crufts is This happened a couple of weeks ago. And Crufts is big national dog show in the UK, and they had a number of things happen during the show. So I promised I would follow up on these 3 particular incidents that happened. The first was that a dog was poisoned and tragically died as a result of that. And after toxicology tests, it was determined that Jagger, which is the name of the dog, beautiful Irish red setter, was indeed poisoned by meat laced with a pesticide, which we know is very, very deadly to our pets. So that's why we need to keep that stuff locked away from them. But they're now saying that the dog was not poisoned at Crufts in England, that it was poisoned in Belgium once the dog got home. So there is no... this is what the vet is actually saying. So it's not been established when the dog ate this meat. And I'll just keep on it, because how does your dog eat poisoned meat? If you didn't give it to them, who did? You know, and why would they have done that? It's just horrific. So that is kind of the updates, not the greatest updates. It's very, very sad. Then there was a handler who was mishandling a dog. The handler was a US handler who was told repeatedly to stop mishandling her dog as per the rules and guidelines at Crufts, but she still continued to do so, and she won. I'm kind of a stickler for rules. If there are rules, follow them. I'm kind of that person, you know.
Well, let me get this right here. We're talking about a nationally sanctioned event.
Big event, yeah.
Big event there.
Yeah.
Like how they have the Westminster show here.
Same level.
Okay. Yeah. And there are all kinds of judges, and these are professional people and professional handlers, okay?
Yeah.
We're not just talking about getting somebody off the street. No. And they have rules, but mega rules.
Mega rules, yeah. Just following people.
She was warned or advised on multiple occasions.
Yes, and what she was doing was she was lifting the dog up by its tail and by its neck, up and off the table.
Surprised the animal didn't bite her.
Do you know what? If I did that to my dog in a dog park, someone would call the animal control.
I'm just surprised the animal didn't reach around and snatch on her.
I know. Who wants to be picked up that way? I mean, it's ridiculous. But
I mean, she won?
She won, but here's the thing. Those rules are... You can do that here in the US. They allow you to do that in the US. Well, they shouldn't allow you to do it, period. You know what I mean? But so she was told, no, these are Crufts rules. We don't do that here. You cannot mishandle your dog. She continued. They let her win. Credibility. Where's your integrity? Where is it?
I'm just going to say, you just hit it right on the nail. Credibility, down the drain.
Yeah, down the drain. It takes one episode for people to lose all credibility, and that's kind of how I feel about that situation. Yeah, you know what? They should have either fined her, banned her for a period of time. They should not strip the award from the dog, because that's not the dog's fault, you know. But just really, really not appropriate. And I've heard that they actually do that kind of handling to not mess up their fur. I'm sorry, don't mess up their spine either, you know, by picking up by the neck of their tail. So strangely enough, and I thought this was quite interesting, was Crufts have now stated that they will review their own guidelines. What does that mean? They're going to include it? Well, I'm not sure what that means. So I'm going to follow up on that little thing. That's very strange.
No, they have rules written.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just weird. And then they say, well, she apologized. Come on. It's not hard to do the right thing. It really isn't. Is it? It's not hard to do the right thing. It just isn't.
I'm just surprised that this lady that's a professional dog handler that's going out of the country to a European show, or out of the country, like I said, to a European show, and she doesn't understand what the rules, and then eventually an official comes and says, we don't do that here, and she continues to go, then wins.
And then wins.
What's the odds on that?
It pays to be bad.
Must be.
It's crazy, isn't it? So who knows what these review of these guidelines is going to include. It doesn't always mean it's going to be a good thing. So you never know. They might include it. Who knows? But we'll find out for you as this continues. And the final thing that happened, and I cannot get an answer on this. It was a very shocking photograph that surfaced of a man who, when I looked at that photograph, looked like he was choking his dog, dragging it around the parking lot, car park, at Crufts itself. The photo's distressing. The look on that dog's face, its tongue's hanging out. Really, really, really horrible. I guess he claimed that the dog was choking, but you were choking it. But for me, my dog picked up a chicken bone, and let me tell you, I was on the floor, and I was trying to get that out of her mouth. I wasn't stood there looking at the camera. I mean, literally, he's got the dog right up, and then the dog's on its back legs only. It looks like he's trying to, shove it in the car. It's not a good situation. And then last night, I did a little more digging, and I found a video of him. I guess he's British, lives in Florida, part of the Canadian obedience team. And so they've identified who this guy is. But I did find a video of him and his dog, and looking at the dog's body language during this obedience thing, the dog looks frightened of him, very unsure, almost in a cowering position while they're doing this obedience stuff, and just constantly looking at the owner, licking its lips a lot, so not good signs of a relaxed, calm, happy dog. So, and there were a lot of comments under that video saying, oh, you were caught hitting the dog with the belt on another episode. So I'm going to keep following up. I've tried to get hold of the RSPCA in England, because this is where this happened, to try and find out if there was an investigation, or like what is happening, because I know a photograph can tell you a million things, but my gut instinct was like, this is shocking and it makes me sick.
We'll put a chain around him and drag him around the parking lot.
I'm all for give you the same treatment. I really am. Yeah, let's see how that feels, So I have no update on that other than finding that other video, and we will find out exactly what went on, because I'm sure it was reported to the RSPCA, who would be investigating that in England. So not a good weekend for Crufts. And I have to tell you this, I'm personally not a fan of dog shows at all. It's just my personal opinion. I'm a big rescue person, so not really into breeding. There are, of course, responsible breeders.
Yep.
You go to their house, the dogs are in the house, you meet the mum and the dad, and that's kind of how it should go. And but it's just not my thing. However, saying that, there are a lot of people who sure love money, awards, fame, endorsements, based on their animal showing.
Right.
And sometimes they like that more than... That's kind of supersedes the wellness of the animal sometimes, so, and it does happen. And it happens in horse shows, where horses have been sabotaged the night before. Someone's gone in the stables and cut their mane and tail off because they can't show them then. Oh yeah, there's some crazy people in the world of showing animals, So as I'm not a big fan, of any of that. So, but we will try and follow up, and we'll and what I wanted to thank was the person that actually spoke up, took that photograph and posted it out there and said, no, this is not acceptable to see this picture of this man doing this, because I'd rather be wrong than have been right and not said anything.
Yeah.
And when it comes to animals and kids, heck, I stop people in Target if they're rude to the person at the checkout.
My wife's the same way. She'll call you out in a minute.
I can't stand it.
What's your problem?
I'm like, why are you being so rude? Well, the accent kind of stops people in their tracks anyway. But I can't bear for anyone to just be disrespectful to another person or an animal. I just can't bear it. So I am that person who will speak up.
There you go.
Well, I was at a coffee shop last week, and there was a guy out there with his dog, and I didn't think he was being very nice to his dog either. The dog wasn't doing anything; it was just being a dog, So another dog came by and did a little bark. So what? Dogs bark, and he was like, he dragged it back, and I went, I don't like how you're handling your dog. He was looked at me like, who are you? But I'm not going to sit there and look at that. I just wasn't. And so then I gave him a bit of a stare down when he went to the bathroom. I left the dog with a girlfriend, and I said, he needs to be nicer to that dog. I'll tell you that right now. So, I just love animals. That's it. I just have to stand up for them.
We have your guest standing by.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes,
well,
she's
I'll tell
ready.
you what. Hang on the line there, Stacy. We're going to take a very quick break because we're going to listen to some words from our sponsors, and we'll be right back because you're going to love my guest and what they've created here in Vegas. We'll be right back.
Tired of wasting money on giant boxes of litter that don't work and don't last? Switch to World's Best Cat Litter, the only litter with concentrated power. So even a small bag lasts one cat 30 days. Outstanding odor control, quick lumping, lightweight. It's even flushable. World's Best Cat Litter. Everything else is just litter. Find it near you at www.itsnotjustlitter.com. That's www.itsnotjustlitter.com.
Amazing Pet Expos is coming to a city near you. Admission is always free, and your pet is welcome. Shopping, adoptions, free nail trims, discounted shots and microchipping, agility, a pet costume contest, and much more. Plus, meet the guys from Animal Planet's hit TV series Tank and Pit Boss. Online at AmazingPetExpos.com.
Bring your pets to the Pet Expo.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Now, let's return to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Here again, your host, the rock and roll queen of dogs, Sam.
And we're back. I've got a fantastic guest that's waiting online. If you know someone who, and you know what, this can also help anyone that's out of Vegas, of course. But if you know someone who is a battered woman, scared to leave because they don't want to leave their pets behind, scared to leave because they think their pet will get killed, which is often the case, they won't leave because there is no alternative to this situation, and they will stay so they can protect their animals. And it was a terrible dilemma, and it still is for many women. However, my guest today is Staci Columbo Alonso, president of Noah's Animal House here in town, located on the grounds of the Shade Tree Women's Shelter here in Las Vegas. Oh, are you there, Staci?
Hi there.
You got yourself a little round of applause there.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that you are on the show with me today. First of all, I want to tell you we have a mutual friend in Kathy over at Barking Dogs.
Oh, I love Kathy. So we go back many years, and I'm so proud of what she's accomplished at Barking Dogs and how she's living her passion every day.
She said the same about you. Isn't that great? She sent me a little message this morning, and you just have those kind of friends that you say, if someone says, oh, well, that's my friend, you're like, oh, they're going to be great. They don't need any pre-qualifying because that, know what, that friend has quality friends. And I'm just thrilled that you came on the show today because what you're doing is quite amazing for women who are battered. So, well, let's start. I'll tell you why we need to start, because anyone that's listening is probably going, oh my gosh, what is this place? Where is this place? So tell us your website and any kind of social media links where we can find you on the internet.
Oh, thank you so much. noahsanimalhouse.org is our website, and also our Facebook site, and Noah Animal House, just drop out the S, is our Twitter feed. And if you go onto our website, you will have you can experience many of our success stories and click on each one of our dogs and cats that have been a part of our history and read about their mom and their kids and how their experience at the Shade Tree and Noah's changed their lives.
Now, why was and when was Noah's Animal House built? Who initiated and saying, oh my gosh, we need this in order for these women to be able to leave with their pets? How did that all start?
I had been on the board of the Shade Tree for several years, and like you, I'm a crazy pet person.
Yeah.
And I had experienced a pretty drastic tragedy in 2000, and I lost my son's father while I was pregnant.
Oh.
And so when I was going through my pregnancy, I had my two rescue dogs that kind of got me through it all. And
oh, wow.
It was just me by myself every night, but those two dogs being excited to see me and my support and knew when I was sad and never left my side prompted me, quite honestly, to ask the question at one of our board meetings to the executive director and said, do we ever have women come with their pets?
Wow. Oh,
and she said, yeah, all the time. And I was like, well, what do we do? And, she's like, well, Staci, there's no pets allowed. There's not any domestic violence shelters that allow pets. And it just kind of is like, wow, that's not acceptable, right? And you go,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would have never gotten through my crisis without my pets. And how do we expect women to do that every single day, have the courage to leave an abusive situation, go to a shelter, which at the end of the day is still a shelter, not home, and not have their best friend by their side?
Oh, wow.
So it just became my mission. It's named after my son.
Oh, I
was
love
pregnant
that.
With. So Noah is my son. He's now 14. We opened in 2007.
Brilliant.
It was the first full-service shelter built on the grounds of a domestic violence shelter. There was a few shelters in the U.S. that had some type of pet service, whether it was a foster program a local humane society. But we were like, we're going to build it so it sits right next door, and women and children can walk out of the shade tree and walk into Noah's and have that recovery and healing that only comes from an unconditional love of a pet.
So you were the very first that had a facility on the same grounds for these women in the country.
Full service. Yes. Yeah.
That's
amazing. And we built it where we have living rooms so that the women and children can take their dogs out of the kennels or the cats out of the condos and just go sit into a little living room environment and be normal for a while. So I think that's what made Noah's unique. And now thankfully there are several. 2% of the domestic violence shelters in the U.S. now have a pet service program of some level, and there are a few that are modeled the same as Noah's. But at the time, we were the first full service built. Now, right next to it.
Did these other shelters seek you out, or did you actually reach out to other shelters and say you probably should, put this program in place? How did that work? Did the word get around about your shelter and for the women and the pets, and then say, hey, how are you doing this? I mean, how did that kind of work?
It happened both ways. I had found a shelter in the Midwest that was having some level of pet services, and I had reached out to them initially and asked for their help, and they were so open with all of their policies and learning experiences, and we shaped Noah that way, and then obviously went way above and beyond. And part of that is because what people don't realize is Shade Tree services 350 women and children a night.
Oh.
Tonight there are 100 children at Shade Tree.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea that you were housing that many
we have that many clients, right? So Noah's had to be proportionate to the number of clients we serve, which is larger than most shelters. And then since then, there's a network that we share information, and if any domestic violence shelter in the country wants to come visit Noah's and learn from us, we're an open book, and I think it works vice versa. We're actually just kind of announcing this on the show. We've just entered into a early preliminary relationship with a shelter in Reno, so there will be a second Noah's in the state of Nevada, hopefully within a few years as we build construction and work through the relationship. But
it's incredible because it is life-saving for the women, the kids, and the pets, isn't it?
And you know what? It's very humbling when you're at the shelter and a woman does come to you and said, I just want you to know, and they say it to my son, which is the most powerful thing. He's 7 years old at the time, and a woman would come up to him and say, I want you to know you saved my life.
Oh my God, I could cry, I swear.
Oh, he would cry. He would, and it's rewarding, it's humbling, and you're doing the right thing, which is the most important part. And that any of us listening to the show, yourself, you would never, if they say, if you leave, I'll kill the dog, you're not leaving.
You're never, right? You're not.
And that's what happens.
And then it holds them hostage. And I'm sure that takes, because you know what, I think it just takes even more courage to leave and try and figure out an alternative if that's not available, or you just don't bother and you kind of stick it out, which, every day you stay with someone like that, your life is at risk, and so I can't imagine what the response was when these women go, I can bring my pets. I mean, that's quite incredible. And like you were saying, it's not just about bringing your pets. It's about your pets help you through these situations like you experienced for yourself, I mean, just think of a day you've got, say, a flu or you got allergies and you're like, all you want to do is cuddle up with your pets and watch TV. You know what I mean? You feel better.
So true.
So, I mean, and that's on a very, very simple level. You know what I mean? This is not, oh, my life's in danger, but they do add so much to our lives. I've had quite a few guests on who they've said, if it wasn't for my dog or my cat, who knows what have happened to me, I had a friend diagnosed with cancer, and the first thing I said, what's the first thing that went through your mind? He goes, who's going to look after my dogs if I'm not here? Oh no, I've got to get well. This is as simple as that, because they mean so much to us. I looked at I read everything on your website, by the way. And I know your purpose is no pets allowed does not have to be the answer given to the U.S. domestic violence shelters when a woman and child need to flee an abusive situation. Noah's Animal House Foundation will deliver a full service operating solution to select domestic violence shelters seeking the addition of a pet program to their organization. I love that. The purpose was clear. It's simple and what you do for them. Then your next thing is eliminate. So you eliminate the final barrier that is prohibiting domestic violence victims from leaving their abuser. Now, do you work, how does this work? in what way do you assist? As in, do you actually leave the facility to help them get into the shelter with the pets, or do they know they can come directly to you? Do you help them put a plan together? How does that work?
We start when they arrive at the shade tree, and so the women and children will go through the process of intake at the shade tree. We will take the pets at Noah's, and then there is a full program both with the shade tree and Noah's for a healing and recovery, and then a path for moving forward and self-sufficiency. I think one of the most powerful stats that, you learn a lot in operation, right? When we built Noah's, it was about removing the barrier, like give them a place to come that's safe. And now, as you just touched on perfectly, in 7 years, we've learned that it's as much about the recovery as it is about the escape. And we have, when women are at the shade tree with pets at Noah's, their return rate is less than 2%. And the women with a shade tree without pets at Noah's, their return rate's over 10%.
Oh.
And really what that's saying is when you have the examples that we have, when you compare those two audiences, it's that the women that have the healing of their pets, stay longer, they definitely, and then they move forward with their life and they break that cycle.
That's incredible.
And we wouldn't have never, quite honestly, we weren't even thinking about that. We were just like, get it open so that women can come. And while we were fundraising to build the building, we fostered 120 pets because women just started showing up. Like, they saw the fundraising articles and all they saw was pets except, pets no last.
Right, like it doesn't exist.
So we were like, oh my God. Noah and I had 14 cats at our house at one point.
Oh my God.
We had foster cats in every single room because we weren't going to turn, a woman down and say we're not open yet.
So cat hair was a condiment at your house at that time then. It was on everything. But you know what? That's what I love what I'm hearing from you, which is, all right, we didn't have the building, but you know what? Here was the problem, and this was our solution, and this is what we did. And it's amazing, I think, what the community will do once they know about it. Don't you think?
Yes.
If more people
know.
We're
so appreciative of this time today with you.
Oh my gosh, you need a medal. You deserve a medal. You've earned your wings to go to heaven. You know that for sure, And you know what's amazing? Your son's going to continue this on, which is another generation.
I know.
And that's where I think we are when it comes to animals is this generation is not amazing. You know what I mean? Our next generation, if we work with them now, we can, have some great kids that are compassionate, love animals, want to help them, and that's how it'll happen, is educating them right now. Certainly we're a lot better than, say, 10 years ago, that's for sure. But getting kids involved, what an amazing, like you say, out of, kind of like an epiphany, what do they do when they try and escape? Well, we have to do something about this, and I think that's quite incredible, because a lot of people may think it, but a lot of people may not put it into action and see. And you've done so well in, 8 years? 7, 8 years?
Yeah, October will be 8 years. I think it was just every door open for us that should have been difficult, so it was just meant to be, I was lucky enough to be that carrier, right, of the cause. So it's pretty awesome.
And like you were saying, and another thing on here, it says, innovation, the status quo is yesterday's news. And I think that's a great statement because, you always hear, well, that's how we've always done it. That's how we've always done it. Oh, it's always been that way. And you say, no, it's not going to be that way. That's old news. Get over it. We've moved over onto some new news. And I think that applies a lot in the animal world. Whether it's like we're talking about handling dogs, lifting it from the neck and the tail. Well, that's how they always did it. And they always dragged them out of rabbit holes by their tails. That's what we're bred for. You know what? That's old news. Let's move forward. We're supposed to progress as human beings, and, I think it's quite incredible what you put together for these women. And I hope that anyone listening, if they know of someone or themselves, that will actually share this information, because the more people know about this, the more they can, one, support you and support these women and these kids and these pets coming in. Now, I'm reading a thing here about stewardship. By planning ahead and holding ourselves accountable, we ensure the responsible and sustainable use of resources in the long term. So it sounds like this is a very, very well thought out organization that you've got. What do you see coming in the future? I mean, are you going to expand? Are you going to open more facilities? Well, I know you just talked about Reno, which is fantastic news, and another shelter, like you say, for Nevada. So what kind of plans do you have? I mean, is Noah's Animal House too small? Does it need to, expand? What do you envision for it right now?
We definitely want to open up more Noah's throughout the United States. That's our number one goal. But Noah's Las Vegas will always be the flagship facility and our home ground. Shade Tree is considering a capital plan to expand their services, and NOAA's would expand at that time as well.
Great.
We are almost always full or close to full, and we have foster parents in place if we ever are full, or if sometimes the pet just needs room to run around and because they've been there too long. But if Shade Tree is successful in growing their facility, NOAA's would definitely expand here as well.
Now, I have a quick question. How long on average do these women stay in the shelter before they get on their feet? I know the economic situation can be really, really difficult. I mean, we had that. Well, I still think we're not fully recovered from the recession anyway. Right. So I'm sure that slows the whole process back. But on average, how long are they staying at the shelter?
On average, it's 6 weeks.
Okay.
When in the height of our recession, it was up to as much as 3 months. Because women couldn't find jobs. And It wasn't that they weren't trying; they just weren't able to find jobs. We're seeing a little bit of relief, but not back where we were, 10 years before. But we have there. If the client is involved in all of the programming and saving income whether it's from a job, but not enough to go out on their own, they can stay up to Shade Tree for a year. And we've had women and pets for up to a year, which is a long time for anybody, right? It's I'm like again, like you, the crazy dog person side of it. So I'm like, a dog's not meant to be in a kennel for a year, but you have to balance that, obviously, where there's a woman and potentially children in the shelter for a year as well. And
that's right.
It's just not the ideal setting. And, we just need to help them get on their feet. So we have job placement programs. We have interview skills and then obviously just the healing and domestic violence barrier, classes and therapy classes to help everybody move forward.
So basically, you really do help them rebuild, put themselves back together, get the confidence back together, feel safe within what they're capable of themselves, so that they can, like you say, move from there, because it is such a safe haven for them. I'm sure it's quite scary when they first move out. Wow, I can't believe this. But I'm assuming when anyone stays for any period of time with you, become part of the family over there. And I'm sure. Now, do you have people that come back who come and volunteer, who've come and stayed with you before when you've help them get back on their feet?
I think that's one of the best success stories, so I'm glad you brought it up. We have several former clients that are now such strong voices for NOAA's, and they work every volunteer opportunity we have, all the events, and they openly tell their story, which I think is a powerful message. And again, it relates to the emotional strength of the relationship with a pet, because here you have domestic violence victims who very rarely speak out and give publicity opportunities. And we have so many of them that sign for publicity and become a voice for NOAA's because they're so appreciative of having their pet with them during the worst time in their life. So they carry it forward, and we are some of our strongest volunteers, and again, event leaders are our former clients. And there's nobody better to tell the story.
With that full experience and how you can actually turn your life around completely with the aid of such a great organization. So, like you were saying, sometimes you get, overwhelmed where you go, we need some fosters and stuff. So I'm going to definitely be sharing your information, because tons of my friends foster. And I don't want people to think that, everybody just stays there. Sometimes you do get at capacity and need that extra help. So I want to make sure that everyone that I know, knows how they can get involved as far as fostering. Now, I know you need donations, don't you? On average, do you know on average how much it costs to run the shelter if you're at maximum capacity, like on a daily basis or a weekly basis? What kind of funding are you looking for to get the money in to make it run?
Well, the way we like to is because $30 will feed a pet for a month.
Okay.
So sometimes it's great to if there's an opportunity for a reoccurring, donation of I'm going to donate $30, just have it come, right on my checking, and I know I'm going to, feed a pet for a month at NOAA's. And there's other programs. We want to every client to leave with their pet in a safe carrier, right? Not everybody comes in with a carrier. So we're trying to collect carriers of all sizes so that the women can start their life knowing that, walking out the door with their cat safe in the cat kennel or up to the extra large, so that, so that's an important, opportunity I'd love to share with your listeners, to say, if you have extra carriers, that are sitting in the garage, please consider bringing them to NOAA's. we're at 1 West Owens, which is the corner of Bain and Owens, and everything's on our website. But
do you have it set up where someone can purchase new ones and have them shipped directly to you? You know, some shelters.
Oh, that would, yeah.
You know,
that too.
You know, some animal shelters. You know, it'll say, you know, you can buy dog beds from here for our shelter, the raised dog beds, and then it gets directly shipped to the shelter, because I think that would also be a great way of getting those in your hands too. But I will definitely be sharing all this information, because it's just, you need the support of the community. It's as simple as that. You know, because I wouldn't think that this problem is going away, unfortunately. And I think we're in a town where we're full of vices. You know, you can get cheap booze, you can gamble, you can do drugs. You know what I mean? There's a wonderful side to this town. But it is the kind of town, you probably shouldn't come here if you're into any of that stuff, and you might fall into a bad situation. And that, when it's not good, reflects on the whole family. And before you know it, who knows what's going to happen to your family. I've seen it happen to the best of people. Came to town, had jobs, got into gambling, lost it all, lost the wife, abused, you know what I mean? It happens a lot. So I know our community absolutely needs to support you, the women, the kids, and the dogs as well. What do the kids need? What kind of stuff do they need?
Oh, and the kids are, their perseverance is unbelievable. It's a great reminder for all of us as adults sometimes. We have a children's center that could always use new books, new toys, so that we have, fresh things for them to, and newer items for them to enjoy and play with.
Great.
Crayons are still, great. And if you think about a children's playroom, whether it's at their school or in their own playrooms at home, any of those type of items are really meaningful for us, so that the kids have a fun environment when they're all together in the center. And
do the women need, like you talked about, you teach them how to interview. Do they need, I'm assuming they need, business attire, those kind of things to be able to go on these interviews. Do you do any kind of a drive for that stuff?
Yes, we do. We have a great, business clothes closet that could always use additional clothing. So if the women have suits and or, business casual type attire that they're willing to donate, Shade Tree is a great place, and it gets put to use to allow the women to walk out with their head high and feeling good about themselves when they walk into an interview.
Well, I'll tell you what, Staci, what I'm going to do, obviously this show is going to replay it quite a few times because it's fantastic. I'm going to make sure we put it out there. But I'm also going to write a blog post because I think this is really important to reach my other audience that I write for, because, like you say, if it helps one person, then we've done our job, haven't we?
Exactly.
Hang on the line. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to wrap up the show shortly after. We're going to listen to some words from our sponsors, and you'll listen to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs. We'll be right back.
There's nothing more delicious and healthy than an old family recipe. And for over 50 years, our family's been creating them especially for your pets. Nutrisource Super Premium Pet Foods. Dog and cat food that's all natural, holistic, and organic. Nutrisource Pet Foods contain our patented Good for Life system for your pet's optimum health and well-being. So order now. Safe quality food made by our family for your furry family members. Go to NutrisourcePetFoods.com.
From our family to yours, KLN Family Brands.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Gansert, President and CEO of American Humane Association, the country's first national humane organization. Here to tell you about our new show, Be Humane, on Pet Life Radio. Each week, we'll be bringing you the latest news and issues affecting our animal friends, and we'll also be bringing you interviews with Hollywood's biggest animal advocates, here to share tales about their pets and what they're doing to promote a more humane world. Our own highly experienced staff and friends of the organization will also join us each week to share what they're up to in the animal world. I hope you'll stop by. Until then, let's always remember to be humane.
Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets.
Let's Talk Pets.
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio continues. The phone lines are open at 702-483-4444. Now, here again, your host, Sam.
And we're back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. My special guest today is Staci Columbo Alonso. I love her name. I have to tell you that. Rolls off the tongue, that. Hang on in there, Staci. I want to do a couple of announcements before we wrap up the show. We do have our next big fundraiser coming up April 24th, which is a Friday. And we haven't revealed what the theme is, but it's going to be fantastic. All I'm saying is Pam and myself from Rockin' for Rescues, and we're kind of the Batman and Robin of raising funds for rescues and organizations who need to stay funded. We've already started planning our outfits. That's all I'm going to say. So save the date, Friday, April 24th, around about 7 p.m. So all the details are going to come. It's going to be fabulous, just like our last event was fabulous. You know, live music, we had golf, we had the social event, great food, and we had the best swag bags and raffle and silent auction items, all rock and roll. So save that date. Really, really, really important that we see your face at our next event, because we will be benefiting 2 rescues in town. And what we do is we choose different organizations with every event, so we can help as many organizations as we possibly can. So there will be sponsorship opportunities. There will be we'll be looking for stuff donated for our swag bags. We'll be looking for raffle and auction items, and it's just going to be a really, really fantastic event. So I'll keep you in suspense. You'll get to know about that next week, or follow my page on Facebook, because that's where the announcement's going to take place. And if you haven't followed Rockin' for Rescues, the number 4, Rockin' for Rescues, find Miss Pam on Facebook, follow her page, because that's where updates are going to happen also. And she's a great organization, and she raises a lot of money for various rescues also. So we've teamed up. Power in numbers. You know how that goes. So I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, because without our sponsors, of course, the show just wouldn't happen. Or it'd just be me and you, Mike. Yeah. That's okay, though. Yeah. We hang out on a Saturday, and it's fun. So if you'd like to be a sponsor of our show, you can get hold of me through any of those links I mentioned earlier, and we'll get you up and running with us. So Staci, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I cannot believe we haven't met, even though I kind of stalked you a little bit on Facebook, and you look familiar. So we could have been at certain events together, but not had the introduction. I was thrilled to find out you were a friend of Kathy's over at Barking Dogs. So, and I know that we are going to get together, because I'd like to be able to help you guys in the future. So whether we do a fundraiser, or whether we, just get fosters on board, or get some supplies taken down there, or a supply drive, or something, that I really, really think we need to help you to continue this amazing work that you're doing for these women, their kids, and their pets. So give us the website one more time so I can get people over there, and also your Facebook page too.
Noah's Animal House. So Noah's, Noahs, animalhouse.org. Please visit us today on the website and see all of our amazing success stories and how you can help.
I did read about the success stories. I really liked it. I thought, wow, this is just so heartwarming to know that these animals were safe, and that the women could, and the kids could just focus on getting better, getting well, getting strong, having a plan, moving their lives forward, and saying goodbye to the abuse, that they've suffered, I just love it. The whole way. I read every word on that website.
Thank you.
So I think I know everything about you, right down to your board members. But I like to close the show out this way. How many minutes do we have, Mike? A couple of minutes? 4. We got 4 minutes. I like to close the show out like this every single week. Remember, you can help a pet in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, or share their information. Super important for today's show is to share Noah's Animal House information. Rescue your next family member. Replace the word shop with adopt, and be kind to all animals. Staci, I want to say a big, big thank you to you for coming on the show today. This will replay, and I will let you know when it goes out again. And I will also let you know when I write the blog post. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today.
You too. Thank you, and we'll make sure we share the blog post and
wonderful
the show today as well.
And if you're listening to the show, Staci's put out all those links. If you can make a donation today to that charity, I know that Staci and the whole organization will respect and appreciate your donation. And just know that you'll be helping out women, kids, and pets in need. I want to thank Mike for being on the mic today. Runs the show beautifully every single week. And I'd like to thank you, the listeners, for being a big part of the show because, like I say, without you guys, it's not going to happen anyway. And today, you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always kiss your pets good morning and good night. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful weekend, Staci. I will get to meet you soon, for sure.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.